There's Mr. David Cornswet as Superman. What kind of costume is that? And also, doesn't Pa Kent remind you of a Review Tech USA, Review Fuck? Kind of does a little bit, a little bit. Kind of get that feeling. Not, I don't know. I mean, you had the old man look. If I don't like from what is it? From Lois and Clark, which reminds me. Yeah, Dean Kane says, I for one definitely want to see it. I said that makes one of us. I also said that Sean Ashmore was rejected by sheer stupidity on the casting director's part if he auditioned. So this is more Nathan Fillion as Guy Gardner. I personally liked Hans Zimmer's take because it was a reimagining. I think the music was what drew me in, not so much the trailer for Man of Steel, but I mean I liked the real life aspects. But I liked that they didn't go by the old playbook. Now James Gunn's going by the old playbook with the music. I would have done something different. Here's what I would have done. It'd be like this, okay? That's what I would have done. I would have remixed it a little bit. Okay? Just remixed it a little bit and add my own thing to it. That's what I would have done. But anyway, this costume feels familiar because it's really like a mix of this one here, the suit. Now this is the new 52 suit without the red trunks. Um, I don't know for sure that David Cornswet was telling the truth when he's thinking about he was saying something about the red trunks because of the children or whatever or kids. Maybe somebody told them, "Hey, you know what? Your suit's going to look too much like this one. It's going to look too much like the new 52 suit from 2011. So maybe you should change it because the red trunks are death, right?" Now, I don't care if Superman has red trunks or not. Um, my favorite suit, I think, is the Henry Cavill original suit. Though, yeah, maybe the one from Batman v Superman. There were slight differences in that suit. Um, but let's take a look a little bit at. Please don't do that. Okay. Now this is a review I have not seen in a long time, but I'm pretty sure the first words, the subtitle is Atlas Shrugged. Oh, it's Atlas Yawned. Sorry, because Atlas Shrugged was a book, but Atlas Yawned. Okay, there we go. I remember this. So let's see if we can find the review. There we go. 2 out of 4 stars. Now, this is a very important note to remember because there's a common denominator as you go by the title of this video. We're looking at Brandon Routh's Superman. So we'll look at the review for this one because I feel like if we can, let's see if we can brighten up a little bit. So let's look at this. It's no fun being Superman. Your life is a lie. There's nobody you can confide in. You're in love, but you can't express it, and you're on call 24 hours a day. But it could be fun being. So this is from 2006 by Roger Ebert. You remember Roger Ebert, the one half of the Siskel and Ebert group, and then there was Richard Roper. But you're on call 24 hours a day, but it can be fun being in a Superman movie. The original Superman from 1978 was an exuberance of action and humor because Christopher Reeve could play the character straight and let us know he was kidding. So that was Christopher Reeve's take. Henry Cavill's take was more kind of like Arnold Schwarzenegger or Rambo light, right? Sly Stallone light. So a little bit of Sly Stallone, a little bit of Arnold Schwarzenegger, but I liked his Clark Kent. And I'll talk about Clark Kent at the end of this video. Superman 2 was just about as good but Superman with the Donner cut was better. But I think the Donner cut was out there when Roger Ebert was alive. Superman 3 was a disappointment. Superman 4, The Quest for Peace, bombed in 1987. And then the series was quiet for 19 years. But then they have TV shows and cartoons. But now the Man of Steel is back and Bryan Singer's Superman Returns, which, like its hero, spends a lot of time dead in the water. So this was the problem with Returns. But there's something in here, and it talks about the setup and everything. The one problem with the casting, Brandon Routh lacks charisma as Superman. And I suppose as Clark Kent. He isn't supposed to have any. Ralph may have been cast because he looks a little like Reeve, but there are times when he looks more like an action figure were effects used to make him seem built from synthetics. We remember the chemistry between Christopher Reeve and Margot Kidder, Lois Lane, in the original Superman movie, and then observe how their counterparts are tongue-tied in this one. If they had a real romance, and they did, has it left them with nothing more than wishful looks and awkward small talk? It's strange how little dialogue the title character has in the movie. Clark Kent is monosyllabic, and Superman is microsyllabic. We had learned Superman was away for 5 years on a mission to the remains of his home planet Krypton. In the meantime, Lois got herself. So I guess in the video game that EA made, he fought Mongol out in space and then came home because he was trying to figure out his origins. So we learned Superman was away for 5 years on a mission to the remains of his home planet, Krypton. In the meantime, Lois got herself a boyfriend and a little son played by Tristan Lake Lubu, who was probably like, oh, if he was like a baby. I think he was a baby, or the actor was, right? I don't remember. No, he was like a toddler, right? 5 or 6. He would have to be like in his early 20s now, I think. Who mostly stares at people like a beta version of Damien the Kid from The Omen 1976. Now, Superman and coincidentally Clark have returned. Clark gets his old job, and Lex Luthor, Kevin Spacey's out of prison, planning to rule the earth. So, that was the problem. Was it wasn't hitting all the right notes. There were just bad memories with this, honestly. So that's the thing. Brandon Routh had very little to say as Superman from Superman Returns. But the whole Crisis on Infinite Earths thing that happened to the CW, Brandon Routh had time to really perfect his character Ray Palmer, the Atom, and also eventually Superman. So I mean, I was watching the live action version of Crisis on Infinite Earths a couple of weeks ago, so I thought it was really good. I think the actors did their best on this. Here they had their chance to shine. They had a good direction, good cinematography, better costume, actually. So, I mean, you compare 2006 Superman to 2019, 2020 Superman for Brandon Routh, and he did a lot better. So, David Cornswet has the ability to convince us through dialogue, through development, that he could do well. Now, here I have not watched these yet, but these are little acting reels. So, somebody put this all together 4 months ago, a year ago. So we're going to watch these together, and we're going to see how his acting's going to be. Now, I said I will watch this on VOD. I will rent this movie. So James Gunn will get some of my money, unless this movie completely bombs. Okay, and I will not count. I'm not going to count Chris Stuckman, because Chris Stuckman's very. Not only is he woke, but he's broke. Everybody wins. There's no losers in the sports, the sporting side of things. Well, somebody.
Probably not. To me, it's not about the notoriety. It's about the craft. It's about showing up to work every day. And for a super, that can mean.
I'm sorry, a what?
Oh, a supernumerary. A supernumerary.
It means extra.
It means background actor. That's the proper term. In many ways, we contribute to the reality of the scene even more so than the principal actors.
But I don't see any income here.
No, presently not. But hey, I've got a casting tomorrow, and if they pick me, that's $10 in my pocket.
Okay, so there's Daddy Gunn. You have to understand that Clark Kent is of no consequence when it comes to usually. I can recall The Adventures of Superman. Now, The Adventures of Superman with George Reeves. His Clark Kent was, I think a lot of people would say, even the actor Jack Larson, who played Jimmy Olsen, he would say that, George Reeves liked playing Clark Kent more than he played Superman. And Clark Kent, especially in the first season, was very he was like a detective, right? He was a reporter, but he was a detective, right? So he did a lot of competent work. Old people would tell you what was the point of Christopher Reeve's Clark Kent? Well, it's just to distinguish the two people, right? To make them two different people. But back in the old days, in the black and white era, yeah, George Reeves's Clark Kent was very very hands-on, very determined. Like, he wasn't Superman, but he wasn't an idiot. He wasn't a bumbling idiot. So that's the thing Christopher Reeve did. I would say Henry Cavill's Clark Kent was not as determined. He was mild mannered, but he wasn't like a goof. So like Henry Cavill did better with that. And there's different actors I can go on about. But focusing on David Cornswet, if it's anything like the Christopher Reeve or anything like that, if it's I mean, I'm thinking of Tom Welling too. Tom Welling played, a character who doesn't think about bad things and doesn't really have to do anything, uh, but react to people, right? So Clark Kent reacts to people. He reacts to other characters, and his dialogue is of no consequence because it doesn't lead anywhere. He just reacts to Lois. He reacts to Jimmy, but doesn't say anything that really does anything. Now let's look at Lady in the Lake.
You always wanted her name in print, didn't you? And you were going to do whatever it took to get it there, weren't you? Even if it meant
Natalia.
throwing up sympathy for the murderer who took my daughter away from me.
Alan,
Don't say my name. Do not ever say my name again. Don't say the name of any remaining member of my family. You should have some common decency. And you should leave.
I'm sorry.
You should leave!
I'm sorry. I'm not going anywhere. And I hope that you see that I am treating her as if it was my child.
God.
And I will not rest until I find out the truth.
Oh, but we already know the truth, Maddie. Everybody here knows the truth. You're trying to recover your lost dreams. And you want to use the body of my dead child to do it. How dare you?
Yeah, I mean, unless it's like, oh, finally, I was looking for Jeremy John's take on this. Okay, so this took a while. All day I was looking for somebody's reviews, which I'll talk about this before we wrap it up here. But unless he's yelling at Luthor or Brainiac. By the way, it was Metamorpho in the preview shot, because you could tell by the magenta and orange, like craggly rock texture. Anthony Carrigan's going to play that character. Again, and I want to say this too, basically, two basic rules for this, okay, before you see the movie. Do not play the movie in your head, because what you think you're going to see and what you end up seeing on the big screen, two different cocks, two different things. And the other thing is, do not have a Christmas wish list, because everybody says, I want to see this, 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 and it doesn't come out the way you want it. So, but anyway, unless he's like attacking Brainiac or Luthor, what have you unleashed, Luthor? And somebody will know what that's from. I don't think that kind of David Cornswet we're going to see, because that was a movie with Natalie Portman, very deep, a very like kind of Oscar award winning type of movie. That's not what we're going to be seeing in Superman, right? That's not the thing we're going to be seeing. Lastly, let's look at David Cornswet's Superman. Let's see how that turns out.
Walking through your life, it's easy to feel like you're going through the motions, right? Like it doesn't really mean anything. But when I was a kid, I grew up on a farm in Missouri, so we had to drive a half hour to get to the picture show. And when I looked up at that enormous screen, I suddenly knew what life was supposed to feel like, what being alive was supposed to mean. It was like there was something somewhere out there waiting for me. That's what being alive is supposed to mean. I held my first hand at the movie theater. I had my first kiss at a movie theater. I don't know. What I do know is this. Every time I leave the picture show, I feel better than I did walking in.
So that's his version of a great speech. Now, the reason why obviously I showed all this was because, oh yeah, here are the Easter eggs, 71 Easter eggs. Let's look through all the clues. Okay, don't do that either, please. That's a waste of time. Because in the end, James Gunn will say, you see all these complexities of Easter eggs? Okay, I'm going to throw them all away. I'm just going to do this instead. Can you imagine? Okay, I'm going to say this. Can you imagine? It's not going to happen because Warner Brothers wouldn't allow it, no matter what. If Superman survives and has a nice happy ending, everybody's like, yeah, what a great ending. Now let's wait for the post-credits scene. It's going to be post-credits. And then you get to the post-credits scene and then he gets killed horribly. Like somebody just like clubs him with the kryptonite club, like a bludgeon, and he just dies. And he's got this cold face of death. And it's like, wait, he died? He died after the credits rolled? You know it's going to fucking happen to some movie where the main character gets killed after the credits roll. It's not going to be Superman, but it's going to be some character that you care about. Like you get invested in a new character, like a new intellectual property by some, 10th rate company. Maybe Mr. Beast will make his own superhero universe, and Mr. Beast will do that, right? Somebody. And you're going to be like, why did you do that, Mr. Beast? Why did you do that? Or PewDiePie. Why'd you do that, PewDiePie? Why'd you kill the character after the credits roll? That's stupid. That doesn't count. It's like, I'm going to be right here when that happens. This has not happened before. I will be there when it happens. I promise you that. But anyway, to wrap this up, Superman does not talk in this trailer. He didn't talk in the teaser trailer. Obviously, he doesn't talk during the music track. Play the music track. So I don't know what is supposed to happen here. But does David Cornswet's talking matter? Does him talking to you matters? Are you going to get the Brandon Routh microsyllables like we did in Superman Returns? So you will all see it first. Oh, speaking of missing opportunities here, I did not get to see Sonic 3 on preview night. I had a bunch of other things to do. I had other things I had to do, and because of the Superman preview, and I had to go out on Wednesday. If you saw my video today, I put together my Glendale Galleria tour. So I completely forgot about Sonic 3. I am going to go see Sonic 3 on Sunday. Now, if Amy Rose, or Dreams Come True sings the Sonic song and it's in the movie, give me a star emoji, a star, like a Super Mario star. Put a star in the comments section. Do not elaborate. Do not write anything. No spoilers. But if Amy Rose does show up in the movie and you've already seen it, put a star in the comments section. Do not elaborate. Do not say anything more. And I hope I will give you a good review of Sonic 3 on Sunday. Hopefully nobody's going to spoil anything important. Hopefully.